All right, so let's get started. And let me just make sure, because I promised everybody who said they can't make it, please record, please record. I'm like, this time I promise I will record. Yes, we are recording. Okay, great. All right, everybody. So I put this picture up here for those of you who haven't been in a session with us. We start every session this way. Because when I started trying to help my daughter be excited, and well, she was already excited. I didn't have to help her be excited. When I started helping her to act more and hopefully get into TV and film, which she now has done lots of, I didn't know what I was doing. And it really was uncomfortable. And it felt like I was on a massively wide highway racing with all these people, and all this stuff was flying at me, and I couldn't see the scenery, and it was just discombobulating. And so my goal is for these sessions, for us when we do these coffee hours, is to feel a little more zen, a little more like this, so that we can sort of stop and pause and take inventory of what are all the resources available to us and how do we learn about this industry so that we can do the best things possible for our kids. So today, I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of introductions by changing your name on your profile, and I'll show you how to do that. And then we'll talk about some of the resources that are available within Child Actor 101 that Corey has so graciously curated for all of us. And then we'll talk about self-tapes. And actually, those community norms we'll talk about before that. And then we'll open up for Q&A. So with that, if you could go in and rename your Zoom profile and change it so that it reads like this sample does over here, your first name and then the age of your child and then how many years you've been in the industry. And if you don't know how to rename, if you hover over your photo or your image, and you'll see the three little dots. If you go to the bottom of that menu, it'll say rename. And that's just to give us a sense of who's in the room and how long have you been at this, so we make sure that we are serving everybody's needs, basically. Hi, Amini. Welcome, welcome. We're just asking folks to rename themselves, Yamini. So if you can change your name on your screen so we know how old your child is and how many years you've been at this, that would be great. And then if you have a burning question, you can put that in the chat. And you can do that throughout the whole session. You don't have to wait for that. Okay. Yay. So Ava and Tanya, I see you've been in this for 2 years and you have a 16-year-old. Got it. Great. Thank you. Daniela and Yamini and Saida, how about you? And am I saying that right, Saida? Or is it Saida?
Hey, this is Daniela. I'm on my phone.
So just tell me how
Sure.
old, how long?
I have 2 daughters. One is 13 and one just turned 11 yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yay. And we have been, I guess, repped, so auditioning consistently for the last year and a half.
Oh, great. Excellent. Okay. Anybody else you can't change your phone, and so you want to just shout it out loud? And I'll write it down so I have a sense. So I see 14 years. Sorry, 14 years old and 5 years. Yamini, thank you. 11, 1 year. Okay. Aubrey, how about you? Aubrey, are you there? Aubrey's trying to work with their mute. You're unmuted now, according to what it says. All right. Well, if you want to drop it in the chat, Aubrey, if you're able to do that, you can do that. Okay. So let's get started. So can everybody work with these for our time together? Because we're going to have a very vivid back and forth conversation in a little bit. Give me a thumbs up, either virtual or in real life, or a hand up if you can live with everything you see on the screen. And 3 knocks is just, if we get down a deep rabbit hole, myself included, feel free to go, hey, knock, knock, knock. Can we get back on track? Ava, thank you for the thumbs up. Hi, Aubrey. I'm not sure either, but thank you. 3 kids, 16, 13, and 7. Yep. And how many years have you been in this business or industry with those kids? All right. I'm going to assume everybody's okay with these. So, just a brief commercial to tell you about, for those of you who may not really know, I see it January. Okay, thank you, Aubrey. For those of you who may not know, so you're in the Child Actor 101 Facebook is how you found out about today. And there's a whole website that Corey has curated. And I don't work for Corey. Corey doesn't work for me. Corey is a manager in LA in the industry. I am a mom in the industry who happens to have a child who's doing fabulous things. And when I first joined Child Actor 101, I didn't know about all these resources. Actually, all these resources didn't exist. Corey's built a lot in the past couple of years. And I was like, hey, it would be great if parents knew about these resources. So one of the reasons why we're doing these copy hours is so that people know about these resources. So I'm not going to run through every single one. I just want you to see how many there are. And this isn't even all of them. But the first thing you should know is that there's a whole website that Corey curates that shows a lot of these resources. There's a tool that you can enter the sides that you get from a commercial or a film, and it will help you prep. It will help you think about what the backstory is and analyze the script. There is a tool that allows you to upload the script, and if you're the one who's reading for your child as the other characters, it kind of helps you do that in a more realistic way, especially if you've never had any acting training or never done any training. A guide about making bolder choices so that your child's tape stands out, how to take great headshots, how to build their resume. If you have a fabulous vendor that you use for something, headshots or acting classes or what have you, you can enter them into the directory, or if you're looking for one in your area, you can go there and take a look for that. And then Corey also teaches classes as well. Those classes are periodically throughout the year, and they're usually weeks long. He doesn't tend to do one-off classes, but sometimes he does. So all those things and more are listed in a post that Corey made on May 5th. And at the end of our session, I'll show you, but you get to see all those plus. There's just like gobs and gobs and gobs of resources. And yep, even more. Ways to prep, different guides, help memorizing, all the things. So at the end of the session, I'll walk you through exactly where to find that post before we finish up. But before we do that, I'm going to talk a little bit about self-tapes. This is the same presentation that I gave last week. So last week? I think it was last week. In the evening. It was cocktail hour instead of coffee hour. And I wanted to start by, being a little bit vulnerable. I'm not going to lie, but showing you what our first self-tape looked like. So for those of you that are brand new and just starting, this won't apply to you perhaps, but maybe, who knows. When we were first starting, the first audition for a film that wasn't in person that our daughter had was one that I found on Actors Access, and I wanted to self-submit for. And it was going to be, it was a major production. It was going to be a Christmas film that we were filming in Italy. It was so exciting. Blah, blah, blah. And I just said, okay, let's see if we can do this. So this is our living room. There's windows behind the sheet. I took a white sheet. I hung it up. I sat her down because in my mind, that's what she should be doing, because the script called for her to be sitting on basically the railing of the porch. She was talking to her grandfather, and it was at night. And I assembled every lamp we had in the house to try and get it so that we could see her. And when I look at this picture, I'm not going to bore you with the actual tape. The photo is bad enough. But when I look at the picture, I cringe inside. I'm like, and outside. I'm like, oh, this is so bad. Amber Bohack. I never know how to say her last name. Apologies, Amber. She's like, she teaches for Actor Site classes, if you have ever heard of them. She's an active part of Child Actor 101. She's like, Christina, trust me, this is not the worst I've ever seen. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry for all those other things you've had to see because to me, this is horrible. Um, but what do you notice? Like, take yourselves off mute and let us know, what do you notice about this tape that might not be so good when you're trying to send in something to a casting director? Or you can type it in the chat and I'll read it out loud.
There's a big shadow behind her.
Yes. Yes. There should not be that shadow behind her. No. What else? What else is it just distracting about it? Daniela, Saida, distracted by wrinkles. Yep. Thank you, Aubrey. Yeah. All these, like this bluckiness in the back. Plus that sheet is, if I don't know if you can see it, it's got like stripes in it.
The framing, if that's how it was framed.
Yep,
The
that's how it was
lighting.
framed. The framing is horrible. The lighting is horrible. Yes. Thank you, Daniela. Yeah. Yeah. And she's not wearing the best color for her either, right? She kind of blends in. Like everything is a little bit pale except for her pants. But the framing should be much closer. Hi, Louisa. Welcome, welcome. She looks washed out. Yeah, that lighting is not doing her any favors. The color of her shirt is not doing her any favors. All the things. Yeah. So, yeah, those are all the things we notice. Awful, awful, awful. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you. This is an actual self-tape that she did last year. I still hadn't gotten rid of all the wrinkles. You can see the wrinkles, but this tape actually booked her a job. So the episode that she was in an episode of Evil Lives Here. It came out early this year in like February, March, something like that. And one of the things that they said when they called to offer us the role, because they booked straight from tapes, was they really liked, she had a really strong self-tape. So I figured then this one's safe to share, right? Welcome, Louisa. If you can, Louisa, if you are able to change your name on your phone to put just your first name and then the age of your child and then how many years they've been in this business, that would be awesome. But if you can't do it because you're on your phone and it can be clunky on your phone, if you want to just drop it in the chat. So again, you don't have to put their names or anything, just their age and their how long you've been doing this. And you're still on mute because I see your lips moving. All right. So, you know what I don't think I did? I don't think I shared the sound. So hold on, let me stop sharing for a second. And then I'm going to share again so you can all hear it. There we go. All right. So here we go.
Why was Curtin here? He wasn't.
Oh,
I
no.
just saw him.
Why do you care?
It's weird, and it's weird that you lie about it.
Why don't you just mind your own business?
What is going on with you?
Go back to your room.
Can you at least turn the ringer on your phone off? Every single time you get a text, I can hear it. And who is even texting you this much this late?
Mind your own business and leave me alone.
I'm just asking.
I said get out.
Okay, so that was take one. This is take two.
Why was Curtin here?
He wasn't.
I just saw him.
Why do you care?
It's weird. And it's weird that you'd lie about it.
Why don't you just mind your own business?
What is going on with you?
Go back to your room.
Can you at least turn the ringer on your phone off? Every single time you get a text, I can hear it. Who is even texting you this much this late?
Mind your own business. Leave me alone.
I'm just asking.
I said get out.
And then she does her slate.
Hey everyone, it's Evelyn Brunel here, coming to you from Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm 13 years old, 5'5", auditioning for the role of Melanie, and I've sold over 5,000 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. Oh please, they weren't all for me, just some of them.
And her full body.
Thanks for watching and have a great day. Evie, out.
And that, I also cringe at that full body shot because there's a lot of things that we could have done better there. But let me ask folks to come off mute and share, what did you notice? What was different between option number one and option number two?
Framing was a lot better.
Framing was a ton better, right? You could see her eye, like you can see her eyes in the first one, but not really. You can see her eyes, so then you get more emotion. The camera likes that better. Yeah. What else?
She popped more on the screen.
She popped a lot more on the screen. Yep. That color works for her as background. We actually, these days, we only film on gray because we actually had her colors done. And so she tends to wear turquoises, burgundies, khakis, etc. They just make her look better. Purple's not actually her perfect color, but that one actually worked. What else? Let's go back a second. So notice where she starts, right? I see a lot of self-tapes, and you will too when you watch people who post their self-tapes, where the kid is totally centered the whole time. And your child actually shouldn't be centered unless they're doing something that requires that. You want them off to one side or the other. So they should either be in this third or in this third, but they don't need to be in the center. And mostly that's because we associate centered with things like this, Zoom calls, and sports or news reporters, right? People that are talking directly to the screen. So that's another thing. For those of you who are just starting out, hopefully you know this already, but if you don't, your child should never be looking at the camera unless they're doing a slate or unless the script tells them to, right? Like if they're playing an announcer, then yes, they're looking directly at the camera. But otherwise they should not. And ideally you want them looking to the side of the camera where the lens is, but just off camera. And so if they're playing to another character, that's where you want to position that character. And if that is if you have a smaller child, a younger child, then you'll want to put yourself there because it's easier for them to relate to an actual person. But if they're older and there's multiple characters and, they're weird about reading with you, et cetera, you can use Post-its or pictures of people. Sometimes I know folks who have literally like printed out a face of somebody that evokes a certain emotion. So especially for the older kids. So Ava for your 16-year-old, Saida for your 14-year-old, Yamini, you're on the edge with your 11-year-old. You can actually kind of have fun with it. And if they are because the scenes get more dramatic as they get older, because they're capable of doing more drama, you can play with it and pick characters that they, if they're supposed to be having a conversation with somebody that they have a crush on, you could, like my daughter loves Tom Holland, right? So if we were to do that, she just works off of Post-it notes, but if we were to start printing pictures of people's faces, if she had to do a scene where she has a romantic interest in somebody, we might put a picture of Tom Holland up there because it evokes emotion in her, right? Or if it's a conversation with somebody who's really scary, then you might pick some sort of villain from some movie or something to help them. But for littles, it's easier if you're the person because they're not usually having you do more dramatic where you're villainous kind of things. It's usually more, upbeat stuff. Generally, not always, but generally. So I just went on a huge tangent. The other thing, though, that's important related is eyelines. So I'm going to turn the sound off and just watch her eyes. Oops, nope, not that. Hold on.
Why was Curtin here?
He wasn't.
I just saw him.
Why do you care?
It's weird, and it's weird that you lie about it.
Why don't you just mind your own
You
business?
see how
What
it's
is going
very
on
clear
with you?
who she's
Go
talking
back your
to?
room.
Can you at least turn the ringer on your
Her
phone
eyes
off?
aren't, like,
Every
dancing
single
all
time
over.
you get a text, I can hear it. And who is even texting you this much this late?
Mind your own
So that's
business.
important too,
I'm
is her
just
eyelines.
I
asking.
said get out.
Okay.
Why was Curtin here?
And let's actually get into, we'll talk about all the other things. So casting directors see thousands of kids, thousands of tapes for every role. When they were in person, usually casting directors could see maybe 30 tops 40 people in a day. But now they can watch hundreds of tapes in a day, right? And they get thousands of applications for each role. So your kid is competing against all these other tapes. And it's great when they're well lit and clear sounding. That'll get you in the door, but it's not going to make you memorable. So what are the things that we can do to make our children memorable? And how do we help them stand out? So let's talk about some of those. So There's lots of different ways, but we're going to talk about 5 of them today. So how many of you have ever heard that, make bold choices line? I see Louisa nodding. Daniela, thank you for the thumbs up. Yep, that happens. So I like to think of that as make creative choices. So make the character your own versus doing something totally off the wall and crazy. And yes, I heard that before. And so what does that look like? Well, that can look like, what's your moment before? So what is your child doing before the scene starts? The scene doesn't start when they start talking. The scene started long before that. And so one of the things is to think about what are they thinking or feeling or doing before they actually start talking, before they start reading their lines. And they can be creative with that. So in the second scene, or the second take of that scene, you saw my daughter started with a yawn, right? Sometimes she'll start with like doing something with her hair, or she's looking at a phone, or she's looking in the mirror, putting on makeup, right? Because she's 14. So you got to, some kids will start with picking their nose. If that lends itself to the character, great. And then also things like, what do you want to do at the end of the scene? We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But any questions about making specific, real choices that will help your child stand out? And thank you, Louisa, for letting us know. He's 9. And congratulations on your short films. And Aubrey, thank you for the catch lights. Yes. Any questions about specific choices? Go ahead, Louisa. Oh, no? Your mute is still on. Let me see if it'll let you unmute. Okay, now the mute is not on, but I still can't hear you. No, still can't hear. Hold on. She's playing.
All right. Do you hear me now?
Yes. Awesome.
I made it. Hi. Good morning, everybody, ladies. So my question is, Jax, he's fairly new to this, and I feel like sometimes, to make that bold choice, because you usually go with the script that they ask you.
Yep.
And you kind of stay to that portion where look straight to the camera, smile, do your slate. Okay, we got this. And then they also kind of want to tape all together. Sometimes like look at the camera, but you also kind of going to roll for it. And here is my problem is like, do we kind of go off and come back? Or we just
great question.
Kind of change the position, kind of, how like blah blah blah. I'm 9. I'm here and there. This is what I love, and then kind of turn. Hey, like my moment. That where is that?
Where's the line? Yeah. Right. No, that's a great question. Amber, yay! Amber's joined us. Awesome. So a couple things. One, so you'll find that some breakdowns will say they want their slate separate, and so obviously then you don't have that problem. If they say slate before, then sure. What we do, and Amber, I'd love to hear if you have any other suggestions for this too. And so everybody, if you don't know Amber is one of the co-owners of Actor Site and a fabulous acting coach. Yep. She's got lots of kids in lots of productions.
We're looking forward to work with Amber once his summer camp is over, so I can financially invest into this, because the summer camps are just...
Yeah, she's amazing. So when our daughter has had to do a slate and then slide right into the piece, what she'll do is she'll slate directly to the camera, and then she'll look down, she'll take a breath, and then she'll come up in character. And she might adjust, like, because she might be doing her slate centered, but then she'll move herself somewhere on the screen and then start the scene. But Amber, anything you would add to that?
Well, I came in at the tail end, but I'm thinking when slates go, that kind of deal.
No, the question is when you have to slate and then do the scene, how do you delineate that, okay, the slate is over and the scene is starting, kind of thing?
Well, you probably already said this. Most of the time, it's fine to do it separate and then edit it together. The only time I see very rarely when they ask for the whole thing right in a row, like Jimmy Kimmel, for example, will say, do the slate and then go right into the scene and then another take of the scene right away because they want to test the kids, like if they can
How
do
well
it
to
on
take it out.
stage, if they can do it live, if they need a cut. And for that, it's really just up to the child. If they can go right into it, cool. Like, hey guys, I'm Amber Bohack, I'm 32 years old, and here's my scene, or whatever else they ask of me. I just go right in. If you need a break to separate, take it. If it's a happy, fun-loving character, just go right into your moment before, because you should have 2 to 3 seconds at the beginning when there's not dialogue anyway, but you're already in character.
Okay.
That way, if it's super dramatic, you can
yeah.
drop your head and get into it.
Amber, if I may add, I don't know, for some reason, like whatever we receive the script for, Jax, it's always something sad or something dramatic. And he's the opposite of being sad or dramatic. So we kind of, it's really hard to bring into the character right away to become sad, because he's natural, very happy, very, like a happy kid. And I feel like when you do one set of the tape, once he's like, hi, I'm this and this, and then like, I feel like he is breaking into the smile because, it's not in his character to be,
I would say cut it. Default to cutting after the slate before you do the scene.
Can you edit them together, Louisa? Are you capable of, like, do you have editing skills that you can just film his slate and then
that was my next question that I was hoping to ask, because I struggle. I am so new to this. The whole computer thing, the editing thing is not me.
Do yourself a favor and learn how to do it. It'll take you 25 minutes to learn how to just put max to learn how to put a slate to the first scene. If you learn how to do that, it'll make your life so much easier. I personally use iMovie because I have an Apple computer and it came with it. Back in the day, I don't even know if it's called this anymore. I used to have an HP. I used Windows Movie Maker. I just always use whatever it came with for iMovie. I just videotape on my phone, drag and drop, and just airdrop them, and then just drag them right into iMovie, and you can cut and trim right within there. And if you have a Droid, you can do that on CapCut.
Okay.
Yeah. Or Clipchamp is another one. That's one I use.
Yep.
Which ones?
Clipchamp. Clipchamp. It just came with the computer.
Clipchamp.
And if you want, Louisa, we can hang out after this call. I can walk you through it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Christina. It's just like I'm struggling with the editing process. It's just, it takes my whole day.
Yeah.
And I feel like I put so much pressure on him, because then I think like maybe it's something we did that it didn't walk through.
Yeah. No, I can help you with that. And then you don't have to worry about it, because to Amber's point, just record the slate separately. He can be in his happy mode, and then he can take whatever time he needs to get into the mode for the sides that he's reading. It's interesting that he's always getting sad roles. I'd be interested to see his headshots too.
It's like, I don't know, he's luck or something. It's everything. He always have to be sad, and I'm like, I don't see him being sad.
Yeah,
but they see him being
that's why it's acting.
He's like, Mommy, can I get something happy? I was like, well, do it for me for now.
That's a good idea. Have him practice. Just practice his camera work, being happy. So Aubrey, thank you for the 2 completely different reads. Yes, that particular audition was explicit in asking for 2 takes. But unless somebody says don't submit 2 takes, you can always submit 2 takes as long as they're very different. Right? So the first one was like frenetic and stressed, and the other one was more chill. So if you think they're like, oh, well, she said this word differently, or she looked in this different position, that's not different enough. They need to be markedly different in order to show the range, basically. Yeah. So, Amber, would you add anything to that?
Honestly, if the scene is over 5-6 lines, I usually don't recommend submitting 2 takes unless there's a very clear difference. Now, there have been exceptions. Like I had a student that there were 3 different scenes. And one of the scenes was like a page and a half of pretty heavy film dialogue, but he had two distinct reads. So it's like he did one take of scene one, did two takes of scene two, and then did one take of scene three. If you have a different way to do it, go for it. If it's like a one line,
yeah, no, then you don't.
I submit 2 or 3 takes and think nothing of it.
Yeah, because it's easy.
Yeah, if it's over, most of the time, if it's over a page and a half, I don't submit 2 takes. Very rarely.
Yep, that makes sense. Awesome. All right. Any other questions about making bold choices? And welcome, Harper. Harper, if you can change your name so you can indicate how old your child is. If you take a look at mine, it shows you, or Saida's or Yamini's, how old your child is and then how many years you've been doing this. And if you're on a phone, if you want to just drop it in the chat, you can do that. Say for you, Gabriella, just so we know who we're with. And then Amber, Daniela's got a 13 and 11-year-old daughter, and they have been at this for a year and a half, and they have representation. Yay. Awesome. Okay. So matching the speed of the medium. So this is another place where you might get hung up for those of you, especially that are starting brand new. Hi, Harper. Yay. Thank you. 5 years old, 5 years doing this. Wow. You started early. That's awesome. And so if you've got a commercial, I mean, think about it, right? Commercials, you see them on the screen and then they're gone, except when you're watching something that you really want to watch and then you're like, God, this commercial's taking forever. But otherwise, they're quick. And so that reading needs to be quick too. The audition should be fast. And so if you're looking at your tape length and you're into a minute or 2 minutes or longer, then that's much too slow. So you're going to want to speed it up. And then television, you've got about 25 to 30 seconds per page, and film about 45 seconds per page. So that will help you think about the pacing for how you're serving as the reader and how your child is doing the scene. Anything you would add to that, Amber?
Yes, I know I added this last time. I just put it in the chat too. For actually, I just put sitcom. That should say multi-camera sitcom. Multi-camera is what's 25 to 30 seconds per page, more like 30 seconds per page. For a show like Modern Family or a drama, those are going to be closer to 45 seconds.
Thank you for the clarification. Yep. Any questions about speed? All right. So then there's, Louisa, go ahead. Oh, you're on mute again.
So you ladies saying we are safe if we are under 1 minute, but ideal is 45 seconds.
It depends on the project.
But it depends on what it is.
Because if you're taking 45 seconds on a Nickelodeon sitcom, it's too long.
Okay. And how would we know, like, do I have like a choice to specify with them, like via email, or I just feel like, like I feel like my manager will be overly stressed if I ask her too many questions.
This is something you learn from training. So your kid should be able to look at a script and know the difference between multicam and single cam. I mean, Christina, I don't know if you have an example, if you want to share your screen and show it, or I can, but to show the two different ones.
Yeah, it's going to be about spacing.
Time for that.
I don't know if
about the spacing.
It's about the spacing on the page.
Yes.
So double spaced is multicam, single spaced is not. So when you read it, you'll know basically by looking at it, unless somebody's not doing their job. If you have one, you can share, Amber. That'd be awesome. I can just pause. Hold on. I can get my screen to do what I need to do.
All right. Here's just a quick example for you. This one is single cam or film. You can see the spacing here. And then this one, double spacing.
And what we're talking about is the spacing in the dialogue itself.
Yes. So this one would be 30 seconds per page. There's less words on it. And then this one will be 45 seconds per page on average. Sometimes you'll see a script that's, let's see. Oh, I've marked that one up for a class. Okay, hold on. So
we're heavy with the pen that day.
I was. So look at this one. Like this is Victorious. It's one of their original scripts. But look how quick these lines are back and forth. Really? Sure was. True though. Up your nose, I see boogers. Very cute. What you thought of it? Of course, this page is going to be shorter, right? Because they're in like a little speed round of the dialogue. So it depends what's going on in the scene, but a good default is 30 seconds, 45 seconds.
Does that help, Louisa? Oh, you're still on mute. Nope, still on mute.
What's
There we go.
going on with me today?
There you go.
Well, thank you so much. I think we do take longer than 30 or 45 seconds, and could be that reason that the audition kind of passed through.
Could be.
Yes, we're pretty much, I want to say 55 seconds on good. 55 seconds, yeah.
Gotcha. Any other questions about speed?
This is probably a really dumb question, but
No dumb questions, Gabrielle. None. Go ahead.
Does this also apply to like video auditions for like musical theater and things that way as well, or does that change a little bit?
No, they don't have the same stringent, because think about it, musical theater, the play is going to fit within 2.5 hours regardless. And if they're talking too slow, the director will tell them to speed up. But television, you're paying by the minute and you have to fit the commercials in there.
Okay.
So it's a very different beast.
Okay,
Does that help?
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So entering, exiting, and positioning. So we talked a little bit earlier, I think it was before you joined us, Amber, about like A, not looking directly at the camera. B, you don't have to stay centered all the time. You can move in the frame as you're talking, right? Not just for the sake of movement. You have to have it relate to the character. There should be movement with intention. But they don't have to just stand still and say their lines. And then you noticed in the tape example that we had of our daughter, she entered the scene. Now, she didn't enter the scene from nothing on the screen, right? You don't want to do that. Amber's told us a story in the past about a director where they have their office staff take a look at every tape, and if any screens start with absolutely nobody in it, they just don't even bother watching them, right? So you want to have the child in the screen, but they don't have to be fully wherever it is that they're going to end up talking. And so one of the tactics that you can use is having them come from farther back and come up, right? Or you can have them start where there's like a portion of them off and then they come in. Just don't start with a blank screen. But they don't have to sit here and just, say my lines from dead center. And then when the scene is over, they can actually exit. Like, have them walk off. That's quite all right. Anything you would add to that, Amber? No. Are you eating popcorn? If you are, I'm jealous.
I'm eating Pringles. I'm actually on vacation, but I had a coaching this morning. And we're about to go to the lazy river, and I was like, I can hop in for a half hour.
Oh, great. Awesome. Well, we always love having you. Amber's a wealth of information. All right. Any questions on entering, exiting, and general positioning? Aubrey, you've heard conflicting things on walking off camera at the end. Yeah, some people might not like it. If you're not gonna, and the scene doesn't always call for it. Let's be honest, right? Like, don't exit if it doesn't say that they left. I've heard some casting directors are like, yeah, no, go ahead, walk off. Others don't care. Others might not want you to. I've never heard that, but it's entirely possible. And then there are some casting directors who are like, no, I would rather you fade it out. And so this is where the editing skills come into play, Louisa. I would rather you fade it to black than leave us with this like awkward position look kind of thing, where others might prefer that you exit. So it's always going to be different per casting director. But it's certainly okay to do if called for. Yeah, no, not an amateur move. Yeah. Absolutely, Aubrey. Great question. Louisa, I think you're saying something. It does not like you today. There we go.
It's not like me today. No, I'm putting all the notes, ladies, and I'm kind of repeating it to myself, kind of trying to absorb the whole information.
Sure. So the note taker is taking notes, and I will gladly send the notes. If anybody wants to get the full transcript, just put your email. You can send me a personal chat, or you can put it in the group chat. But I'll happily send you all the AI notes so you get it all and it'll be nicely organized too. All right. So eyelines. We talked a little bit about this. You saw Abby it was very clear who she was talking to in her eyelines. And Amber, we already shared the tips and tricks about the parent being the eyeline for the younger children and printing faces for older kids, or using Post-its. And okay, I've got 2 requests for notes noted. One of the things that you'll see sometimes that we talked about, we had the same conversation last week, but is when a child doesn't have their lines fully memorized, sometimes they can do what I call pulling for the line, where they'll be talking to their character and then you'll see them like look up or sometimes down, and it can take the viewer out of the scene. And so you want them to be memorized enough that they can stay focused on the person that they're talking to. Now, that doesn't mean that if there's a space in the script where they're supposed to be thinking, they can't do that, right? They should do that if that's what the correct character calls for. But sometimes you'll see kids' eyes flicking all over, and that's distracting, right? So they should be very clear on, I have one character over here, I have another character over here. Ideally, the character that they're relating to the most is closest to the lens of this, on the side of your camera where the lens is. And also, ideally, they're playing cross lens to that character. So if the character that I'm most talking to is over here, I need to be over here. So I'm going past the lens to talk to them, not I'm over here and I'm talking to them over here. That doesn't work. Amber, what would you add? She's like, I got a mouthful of Pringles. You're fine.
No, that all sounds good. You got it.
Any questions about eyelines? Going once, twice. All right. So last but not least, speak softly and keep it positive, not perfect. So as readers, it can be hard sometimes, especially if we have smaller children and we're on that side of the camera. You don't want to speak in a normal voice volume level, because you shouldn't be as loud as your child, ideally. You certainly shouldn't be louder than your child. You want to keep your child as the focus, not you as the reader. So you want to make sure that you're speaking in a lower volume than you might perhaps otherwise. When my daughter and I do scripts, because she doesn't need me to look at, she'll use her Post-its to be the eyelines. I actually take a couple steps back from the camera, so you can almost barely hear me. And so then the focus is entirely on her. Any questions about your volume first, and then we'll talk about the positive piece. Okay, so then the positive is, trust me, I know it's hard sometimes when you're trying to get a tape in, you're trying to get it in on time. You've got, how many pages of dialogue. You're thinking about lights and camera angles and all things. How do we stay upbeat and encouraging and not criticize, oh, well, you forgot that word, or you looked the wrong way, or all of that. And so one of the suggestions I have for folks is to make sure that when they've done their tape, don't try not to interrupt them in the middle of a take, right? Let them do their take, because otherwise they're going to get traumatized, right? I'm going to start this take, but she's going to stop me. Let them finish their take. And then if there's something glaring that really has to be fixed, okay, then say it after they've done that, and then take another take. But don't pile on oh, you did this wrong, because before you know it, they're not going to want to do this anymore. Which is another good point. If you're the one that wants them to do this and they don't want to do this, then maybe you should consider not doing this, because it shouldn't be something that you're pushing as much as it should be something that the child really loves and wants to do, and you're supporting them, not forcing them, if you will.
I'm going to disagree a teeny tiny bit on when to stop takes. So it depends on your child and your relationship with your child. But if this is a scene that's like 3 pages long or 4 pages long,
That's a good
and
point. Yeah.
they mess up 2 or 3 lines in, they're going to get exhausted if you just have them do the whole thing over and over, and eventually it'll sound too rehearsed. So like when I'm coaching kids, I let them get once all the way through, especially if it's my first time working with them. Okay, well, we made it through once. Let's try to see what we can get from here. But then I start interrupting when I see something. Not every kid can take that, but a lot of them can. And I've seen casting do it as well in reads.
That's a great point. Yeah, it does depend on the length of the scene. I was thinking about more shorter scenes, but it's true. I wouldn't unless she did something right up at the top. That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah, if there's a mistake on like the first page, I usually just say, hey, let's restart it. If it's like the third to last line, I'm like, all right, let's keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, once your kid has been doing this for a while, they'll catch themselves and they'll just stop. Like my daughter's like, start over, right? She gets annoyed with herself. But when they're little, it's different. Yeah. So Aubrey, I see you've been miking your son for tapes, but makes the reader even lower in volume. Is that annoying to casting? No, that just means you can speak normal, which is great. Yeah, because the ratio basically that you're worried about. You just want the kid louder than you. If they missed a word of tape, but the tape was really authentic, would you suggest retaping? Perfection is not required. Absolutely not. Like if it was genuine and believable and it was a great take and they said and instead of an or went instead of wants, like I wouldn't necessarily, went and want might be a little different, but if it's major, sure, like they got the character's name wrong, you might want to do that. Retake that one. But I've had our daughter has contracted. Instead of saying they will, she'll say they'll, right? That's fine. Nobody's going to be mad at you for that. Does that help, Harper?
Except Aaron Sorkin. Don't mess up any Aaron Sorkin dialogue.
He's precious. Yes. All right. So with that, what else is on your mind? What other questions do people have? You can speak up or you can type them in the chat.
Okay, I think I did this time right.
Yes, so, we can hear you.
So we had one audition, and he actually was casted, and it's a short film and unpaid. It's just it's just something for him to get ahead of it, and I was just happy that he was casted. They give us an idea for what they want to see, and we had two coaches. One coach from the same production said, you can improvise. I want you to improvise. And we had one total different idea who he is. Like he is the boy. He plays the Fortnite, and he kind of pretends that. Okay, so story. He was in a room, and he's a character that he is a boy, but he's a character to other people that he's lost kid. And it's kind of like lost room for the people they go through, and he's one of the characters who pops up and says like, save me, like the witch took me away, and kind of that thing. And they
and this is a movie or this is a voiceover?
It's a movie.
Okay.
So that's what we were preparing for. And he did great because he's naturally the gamer, so it was kind of interesting for him. Then we had another coach pretty much the next week. He said, no, I want you to be portrayed yourself as a character who is a lost boy in the woods taken by the witch. Like you're no longer a kid with a headset on, like you're not pretending anymore. So it kind of took away the whole entire training, I would say, that now we're a different character. And because the cast was online for him, we were not physically present in the room with them. so the time for the taping comes, they say, we want a green background and we want you to improvise again. We're like, okay, so what direction do we go? So the casting director says, like, we like either. We like this way and we like this one. So tape for us 2 of this and we choose. Now, my question is, like, do we have a say? Like, we feel like this will be the better fit, or we just pretty much take two different shots and send it to them? Because he had plenty to say and it was a lot. In 2 different takes, it was a lot for him to learn because it's 2 different characters now.
Mhm.
You know, like the script was changed and it was pretty much us, me as mom, him, and the casting director pretty much on the go improvising.
Sure. So if they are allowing you to take 2 takes, you want to make them different.
Yeah,
And
that's
so,
yeah, but we
yes.
don't know which one they choose up till now.
And they might not know either. Like, this is the first time they're seeing it. Your child might do something that makes them go, "Oh, wow, we never thought of it that way. That's great. I love that." Right? Like, because we all have to remember as parents, a script writer wrote this script. The director has not seen and has not, produced this production yet. So they might have some idea of kind of what they're looking for, right? They have to be able to give a description to the casting director so the casting director can help them find what they're seeking. But it's not as though they have a very set one way of doing this. And if you don't fit that one way, you're wrong. They're still in the, when they're looking at tapes, they're in the, okay, so let's see what we got and what comes up and who resonates with us. And this feels right. It's very subjective. And so if you have an opportunity and you have 2 completely different takes that you can submit, and they've asked for 2 takes, submit 2 takes and have him do 2 totally different characters. That's great.
Okay, that's what we did. I was just a little bit confused, like, how often does this happen? Because the whole entire script has changed, the whole entire picture, the whole entire the outfit has changed, and we're like, oh, because, initially we were told to do this, but because my son, he improvised on the go, I think, like you mentioned, they saw
something they liked.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, let's do this one now. And we're like, oh, did we mess up?
No, they just wanted to see something different. And that's actually a very encouraging sign. If they say, hey, can you do it again, but do it this way? That means they liked him. They just want to see if he's capable of taking direction, if he can, shift and maneuver. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. That's encouraging. I was kind of worried that, did I say something? Did we do something wrong?
No. I'm looking at Aubrey's question. What's the best way to get content for their reels before they actually have any work to show? Yeah, it's called self-submitting. Taking classes where you can tape some of the exercises that they've done for class. There are companies that will create reels for you as well. It can be expensive depending on what your budget is. But those would be the primary ways. Amber, anything you would add?
I was just typing. We do audition technique classes. So after kids take fundamentals with us, the next class they take, we do a comedy. The next week is a comedy self-tape. So same scene, it's just now it's been coached. Parents are supposed to tape it. Sometimes kids take that class and I was like, wow, that was so good. You should put this on your reel. Or you should change a couple lines here and then use this as a clip, right? Take this note, and then use it. If you self-submit, and your kids can get some experience on set of a short film, sometimes the footage looks great, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. Try to do more thesis films and things like that. If it puts your kid in a great light, awesome. If the sound is off because they're students, don't use it. You're better off with just a clean self-tape on their profile. And we have people use them from class all the time. We have a class coming up. It starts Monday and it's 3 days. I'll put a code in if anybody wants to do it. It's the only time we do audition technique. It's audition boot camp without requiring fundamentals, which is still good in general, but if it doesn't work in their schedule. Yeah.
And you bring up a great point, Amber. When Evie was first starting out, when she was first starting out, there were a couple of people in our area who were like, hey, can she be in my project for school? Right. And those things we don't have on Actors Access. Like they're cute and they were fun, and she got some experience in front of the camera, but they're not quality enough to put in front of somebody. Versus later on, she auditioned through Actors Access, paid for a job where somebody was doing their master's thesis in film, and they were a film student from UCLA, and they flew like half their crew out from California to North Carolina. So she filmed for 7 days, 17 different sites. She had 2 sound guys, 2 lighting guys, like a full production. That footage we can use. All right, let's see. If the audition scene is in a car riding a bike, would you suggest prioritizing the lighting and blank background, or tape in the car, or outdoor riding a bike? Yeah. So, different casting directors feel differently about this, but the majority of the ones that I've heard, and Amber, feel free to disagree if you've heard differently, is you don't need to be in your car. What you can do is position yourself as if you could put your child in a chair, so then it looks like they're seated, and then you just put them to one side and have them treat the area as like, oh, I'm talking to mom or dad who's driving. I'm talking to mom or dad who's not driving. I'm talking to sibling over here. I'm looking out the window over here. Right. And so just imagine the space of the car, but they don't have to be in the car. It's hard to light the car. And you're going to get like the garage or, outside or whatever, and it's not going to be moving. And it's distracting and it's hard. And then if they're actively riding a bike while they're talking, so try and film a child while they're riding a bike and get correct sound and lighting, and that's a nightmare waiting to happen. I wouldn't do that. If you want to bring the bike up to wherever you're taping, you could, but you could just as soon have them sort of straddle a stool and give the impression of sitting on a bike kind of thing, because you don't need to see the bike. The framing is not going to show the bike. The framing is going to show, here to here. So you could have them, this could be funny or fun. You could have them do if you had one of those under the seat exercise things, you could have them doing that. So then their body is moving as if they're riding a bike, but I can do that right here, right now. Right. And I don't have a pedal thing. So, but most of the time, I think it would be rare if they'd ask you while they're riding a bike, they have to be talking kind of thing. What would you add, Amber?
It depends if it's a commercial or if it's a TV show or a movie. If it's a commercial, you can use the bike. I've had students that like straight up a mom put the bike on like cement blocks and got a call back for the commercial, and she was riding a bike the whole time for this commercial. She was actually just like going out of the way, but it was in front of their self-tape setup. Most of the time, if it's important that the character is riding a bike, I'll say, no, we're going to do the scene inside, but then send them a video of you riding your bike down the driveway or jumping off the bike at the end of the driveway or whatever it is.
Yeah, because sometimes they ask for that. They want to make sure you can ride the bike.
Yes. And even if they don't ask for it, it doesn't hurt you to include that.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of students get callbacks, and they're like, wow, we liked that you had this skill. Like, even though they didn't ask, it helped them stand out.
Yeah. And don't lie about that skill. If you don't have it, don't say that you do. We were on a set once where somebody actually got let go because they had said that their child could ride a bike, but their child couldn't ride a bike that didn't have training wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And the scene required the 2 kids to be riding their bike off into the distance and not with training wheels. So they got let go and replaced by somebody else.
That happens.
Sorry, I cut across you though, Amber. You were going to say something else.
No, you're good. If it is in a car, I have seen a couple commercials say, actually film this in your car, usually in Florida, and just have a little ring light or something like that, to do your best with that. If they specifically request it, if it says, do it wherever you're more comfortable, do it where the kid's more comfortable. Some kids are so used to auditioning that they know how to handle the props in front of the screen. I had a student, I think it was, who makes the croissants that you like pop out of the container?
Oh, with the funny baker guy.
Yeah, it was for that brand, whatever that was. And so they went out and actually the mom like got one of those so the little girl could like do it on camera and lay them out and they booked the commercial.
Yay. I love that.
But it was just right in their kitchen.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll get those. We get a lot of those auditions where it's like, okay, prep food in your kitchen. and we want to see you eating real food, and we want to see you actually making sandwiches for school, or we want to see you passing plates that are filled with food and blah, 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 then you have to do that in your kitchen, really. The interesting part is when they're like, and we want to actually see you eat. It's like eating is a talent on screen. All right. So what about putting together a tape of self-tapes they've done, or is that a no-no? That depends on if those things have aired or not. So if you auditioned, let's say, for a Netflix primetime show, that you can't share that. You're not supposed to put that anywhere because that show has not actually showed up on TV. But if you're doing a self-tape for a class, like Amber's talking about, then you're usually using sides for things that have been published a long time ago, so it doesn't matter. Does that help, Aubrey? I think so, based on your thumbs up. Yeah.
I guess I have a question about reels too, just because we're new to this. So
Yep.
she's doing like educational musical theater for forever. And so now she's just starting to want to do all of this other stuff. And she just did like her first professional show, but they won't let you record the shows and stuff like that too. So how do you kind of get any of that stuff? Can I use like the stuff that I filmed on my phone, or is that like a huge no-no? Or because I'm a professional photographer and I do marketing full time, so like I understand the importance of quality. So
Yep.
like I tend to be like a perfectionist, but I also don't want to like not use something if it's usable, it's just not up to my standards, or like what are I including? And is there two different reels, a musical theater reel versus
how tall is she?
She's 4'11" and a half.
Okay, so she's too tall for Broadway.
Yep.
Unfortunately, by a couple inches.
I know. She kept wanting to be tall, and I was like, girlfriend, I promise you.
But that doesn't mean she's too tall for regional theater, or local theater, or community theater, or any of those. So, I don't know about the theaters in your area, but the theaters in our area where we are, we got, I don't know, there's like 10, 12 theaters. They're not asking for reels.
No, they're not. But it would be more, and she's too tall for Broadway, so it wouldn't even matter. But if she wants to do more film stuff, then it's a whole different ball game from what I'm understanding now.
Yes, you would not use her on stage stuff for your reels for TV or film.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, no, it does help. So that means that if she wanted to go into film or TV, that's a whole new set of things that we're recording.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And then should we add a clip to show they can ride a bike? Yeah. Yeah. That's a good clip. You don't need to, if they're not asking for it and the character doesn't say anything about a bike, I wouldn't put it there. But if you are at the age where your child is likely going to be asked to ride a bike, perhaps in a scene, then it's a great clip to have at your disposal. So then when somebody says, hey, can we actually see you riding a bike? Then you've got it in your back pocket and you don't have to worry about, is it raining today? And we have to now go shoot this outside. What's another one that I've asked? So for kids who do sports, so sometimes you get sports commercials like Dick's or Nike or whatever. We've had, show us either footage of you playing the game or show us in your backyard making a goal or making a kick or hitting a ball or something like that. So if your child is into sports and you have footage of them doing something on the field, that's also good footage that you want to keep. Yay! More people taking Amber's classes. Awesome. You can't go wrong with Amber's classes. She gives great classes. All right. What other questions do we have?
Yes, I have to leave in 3 minutes. I'm being summoned to the lazy river.
Oh, fun. Fun. All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I can hang out if people have more questions. But in the meantime, how do you get back to those resources, the Child Actor 101 resources? If you go to the top of the page, you'll see about discussion guides. So a lot of the guides you'll find under guides. And then under featured, if you scroll down to May 5th, you'll see this post of Corey's. And it's where he talks about all the resources that we shared about before. And if you go to actorsite.com, you'll find all of Amber's courses as well. And every month there's new ones. Yep.
Yep. And then Acting with Amber has some free resources with like a resume template and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Download
Awesome.
that.
Awesome. And then the next time we're going to do this is next Friday. We'll do another one at noon. And then the following Thursday, we'll do one at 8 o'clock at night Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And that one, we're going to talk about profiles, your Actors Access profile, and how to make sure that your child's profile is very complete so that you rank higher in the searches for people, because there's ways to make sure that that happens. All right. And with that, thank you for coming today, everybody. So nice to see you, sort of, hear you, read you. And
Thank
Louisa, if you want to
you.
hang out, I can show you how to do things. Sorry, Danielle, I cut across you. Go ahead.
I just said thank you.
Yay, thank you for coming.
Bye,
And
guys.
I will send everybody the notes that gave me their email. Awesome. All right. I am going to stop recording, Louisa.